flight. We have landed on the moon.
Blake Cousins, welcome back, everybody, from around the world, broadcasting live Monday night. Thanks for joining me. Let's bring in the callers. Let's just get to the public. We want to hear a good UFO. We got a lot of callers in. Let's go to area code 916. You made it to the show. How you doing tonight?
Hey, Blake.
Yep, got you loud and clear. Hey, thanks for joining us. You got something you want to share to the world tonight? Go ahead. What's your name?
Yeah, my name's Corey. I'm calling from north of Sacramento. About 1997, I was working as a law clerk in West Virginia, and we used to go to this club. It was more of a racehorse kind of casino thing. And one night we were there, and I go to the bathroom, and for some reason I had this urge to turn all the way around, and this guy's at the craps tables. And this guy has a Trophy hat on, long coat, shoes. I mean, just stuff right out of the 1940s. Really weird-looking guy. Really white skin. Sunglasses, the wraparound sunglasses that you see sometimes. And so anyway, this I tell my friends about it. I get back in the bathroom. I tell my friends about it, and they're like, "Let's go check this guy out." So we go check him out, and it's a subject for a couple of days. We talked about it for a little bit, and then nothing happens. 20 years later, I get into all this UFO stuff, and I see the Charles Hall story where he's talking about the Indigook, the tall whites.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So he's describing this, these people. And I'm like, holy mackerel, he's describing the gait that they walk, what they wear, what they look like, how tall they are, and it just really tripped me out. It was really strange because I just about fell out of my chair when I heard all that. It's just,
Well, do you think what you witnessed in that bar that night was a tall white alien?
It could be. The only question I had was, are these guys all around the country? Are they all around the country, all around the world? And I found out later that the tall whites are just all around the world, not just in at Creech Air Force Base. So what makes you discerns you from a normal, a tall white person or this alien type tall white person? Well,
how do they differ?
Well, I saw him later on walking with a couple of other people to the bathroom himself, or towards the bathroom himself again. And had this guy stood straight up, he would have been at least 8.5 feet tall. I've never seen anybody that tall, that thin, wearing those clothes in 1997. It was just very odd. The whole feeling was just very odd and just very different,
Yeah, usually somebody that's 8.5 feet, they'd be world famous no matter what. They really couldn't hide. They would be known to the people. So if this person was a stranger, wow, they've been hiding their whole life kind of, under covers, because that doesn't make any sense. So your friends got to look at this tall white.
Yeah. About 2 or 3 of my friends went over, and it was at the craps table. And, apparently they can read the cards. They can see right through the cards because they know, they have different vision. They can see in the infrared or ultraviolet, I suppose. But it was just a really strange experience. I just had a really weird feeling about it. And these guys were just following him everywhere. And they were at the craps tables, and he just, there was a lot of hooting and hollering going on, and I figured he was winning all the time,
Yeah, in Vegas, they would pretty much ban him from all the casinos if they saw that kind of action. I've never heard of that. A tall alien white gambling. It doesn't get stranger than this, but you saw what you saw, so it is. It's quite interesting. I appreciate your call. So let me ask you, after your friends checked them out, you've seen this. Now you've done your research throughout the years, and kind of brings you back to that memory of when you came across this being. What do you take away from it? Did this being seem like he was trying to, fix the system, get some kind of, like, he sounds like he was cheating in his own sense. What would he need money for, I wonder?
Exactly. Well, if you listen to the Charles Hall story, if you watch the videos, he goes into it. They just, want to be entertained and go have fun, just like everybody else. That's all.
They got to do
all
something.
Really
they got to do. Sure. Yeah. Strange indeed. So, did this character have any friends following around? Was he accompanied by any escorts or?
Yeah, he had. It seemed to me that he had about 5 or 6 people around him. But when he was walking around, he had 1 woman and 3 men with him, and they were kind of, walking with him. And his gait was very funny. He was shuffling along. He was very thin. He had gloves on, a long trench coat, the eyeglasses, everything out of the 1940s. And that's exactly what Charles described in his videos. And that's what sparked my memory. And that's what I went, holy mackerel, man. I may have seen it for myself.
Wow. Can you describe the people that were following him around? Did they seem military to you, law enforcement, or just regular? How were they dressed? Were they dressed like the 1940s attire as well?
No, they were dressed normally, but I wasn't thinking of that because I wasn't thinking it was an alien. At that point, why would I? I was just thinking these are a bunch of guys that are playing cards, and this one really peculiar guy is sitting there, and he may be winning because there was a lot of hooting and hollering going on, but I don't know. It was just really strange. And then when I saw the Charles Hall story, it just really, it kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, well, what if I saw a tall white? That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely cool indeed. And in my opinion, to see a tall white alien mingle amongst the public and just want to get along and have a good time like we do, that's amazing to me. That's amazing. And I've really never heard anything quite like this. I might have to research the background on the tall whites a little bit more and what they do on their spare time. We've got more callers. I appreciate that call. Quite amazing. We got more callers. We're going to be going to area code 407 soon, 309 and 562. So stay tuned. You guys are up. We'll be right back. Hiding in plain sight amongst us. All around the world, these tall alien whites do the same things we do every day, just like all humans do. Have a life, and they just want to have a life like everybody else. That was an amazing caller. All right. If you've got a tall white story, have you been in contact with alien beings? not of this earth? We want to hear about it. Or could they be our ancestors from millions of years ago? You never know. We're going to find out one of these days. Maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. It's going to happen. Let's go to area code 407. You're live, Third Phase of the Moon. Welcome to the show tonight. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Is this Blake?
Yep, this is Blake, Third Phase of the Moon, live radio. You got something you want to share to the world tonight? Thanks for calling in. What's your name?
Thank you. My name's Perry. I'm calling from Florida, but I haven't always lived here. I used to live in Texas in El Paso, where Fort Bliss is.
Sure.
A child, I always had an active imagination, and I'm an artist now, and so I draw and stuff. But as a child, I had an experience once sleeping in my bed, and I used to wake up at these weird times, 1:11, 2:22, 3:33, stuff like that. And there was a light that would shine through my window. It would shine, like the regular street lights, yellowish. Well, this one particular night, it shined through my window green when I woke up, and strangely, I could not move. I was paralyzed, I guess you could say. I could see, and I could move my eyes around, and I could see things. And when I looked, I saw 6 figures, short. They were very short, standing around my bed. 2 at my shoulders, at each shoulder, 2 at my waist, and 2 at the foot of my bed. And I couldn't speak, couldn't move, and then I blacked out. Now, the next morning, I told my parents, and they always knew I was creative, and they said, "Oh yeah," they dismissed it as a story, as an exciting dream or something, and so they paid it no mind, and I didn't either after that for a while. Had a weird thing though in my back, almost like an ingrown hair, and it's been there for years, except the skin around it is green. I didn't think anything of that either. And many years passed. I joined the military, the Army, went to Hawaii and Schofield Barracks. And while I was there, I was taking some courses, for college credits. Took a writing course, and they gave us an assignment to pick the topic of our choice. I chose, Area 51, Roswell, and the alien conspiracy. And I am very meticulous about my work. I take pride in it. So I did 3 straight days of nothing but research on the computer, only stopping to use the restroom and eat. Turned in my report. A week later, went back to class. They gave back everybody's report except for mine. They told me to stay after, and they locked. I was wondering where my paper was. They locked me in an office for about an hour, and after that, a 3- or 4-star general came into the room with my report in his hand. He says, "Do you have any extra copies of this?" I said, well, maybe some rough drafts, that I used to put this together. He said, "I'd advise you to destroy them, burn them, or it could be detrimental to you and the health of your family." At that time, I was a dumb kid, and I said, "Well, did I get an A?" He said, "Yeah, you got an A, just burn it all." And so I did, and didn't think anything of it. But as time goes by, we get smarter. I started thinking, why would they send a 4-star general into this office with my report on Area 51? What's so important about that they would do that? I was a specialist at the time, which is not a very high rank. It's relatively small. But I have served 12 years in the military. So I thought about putting that report together. One of my last conversations with my mom, she passed in 2010, was whether I should go forth and recreate this report. There's this such thing as a Release of Information Act, where the government has to tell you everything. They just don't have to tell you all at the same time. They could say there was something in the skies. and then in the next instance they could say bright lights were shining. But it's up to us, as the general public. It's up to us to be smart enough to puzzle piece it together, to which the average American is not willing to sit in front of a computer for three straight days, adding it up. And so they figure we're dumb, and we're not going to put it together and figure out that life does exist somewhere else in the universe, and that they have visited Earth. I'd like to bring up the movie Prometheus. The past caller said something about the tall whites and how they may be relatives of ours of sorts. I tend to believe that's true. And I'd also like to bring up the movie Paul, how we're being drip-fed images of aliens, through, certain media, so that we won't be surprised when disclosure actually occurs. I wanted to ask you, when do you think disclosure is going to occur? We were supposed to have it about 4 years ago, and it never happened. When do you think this is going to happen?
Yeah. It's a good question. I got more questions for you besides the question that you're giving me, because what you're in contact with alien beings back in the day. You have a report that you're doing, and then a 5-star or 4-star general, we're going to get correct on that, tells you to scrap the project. Disclosure might be in your hands, sir. Can you resubmit? Are you going to work on this project? Have you duplicated it the way you did? So you destroyed it as you were kind of ordered to. Can you duplicate it again?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Everything's at our fingertips. It's just, like I said, it's in puzzle pieces that it's kind of confusing, but if you can sit there and actually focus and put it together, it comes together real clear. Comes through real clear. Yeah, I can recreate it. It contained everything about Project Blue Book. I was down to the names, addresses, and phone numbers of the existing of the last living witnesses to Roswell, the Roswell incident. What's that movie? Fire in the Sky. Are you familiar with
Travis
that one?
Travis Walton.
Yes.
And, as a matter of fact, we did watch Paul just recently. It's so funny that you mentioned it, because it's been out for many years. But I actually paid a visit to the movie, and it was interesting, and it was very funny. It was cool that it was a comedy, but then again they put a slapstick to the UFO and alien phenomena. But I want to see serious film in that direction as well. But let me ask you about this encounter again. This encounter with multiple graves. Did they look exactly alike? Did they look like? Did they have any characteristics of different proportion for one another? These beings?
No, actually, they were exactly alike. The shadows, when I saw them, and it was at night. I was sleeping. It was at night, and I know the difference between reality and night terrors. It wasn't a night terror. I had no terror in me at all. I was completely peaceful while they were there. They were exactly alike. They were the small graves. During my research in the later years, I found that the tall whites were actually not a competing race, but a manufactured race by the grays to do their dirty work, pretty much. To do their work on Earth. Whatever they had going on, they were like worker ants. The tall whites were. It's kind of funny, we don't see that small grays being in control of some 8-foot being. But that's what my research pulled up.
Yeah. Do you remember anything about this possible implant in your body shortly, pretty much immediately after the encounter? Were you taken somewhere? Do you remember leaving your room?
No, I completely blacked out. I'm pretty sure I was taken somewhere, but I can't confirm it because I was completely out at that point. I blacked out. So I can't confirm that they actually abducted me. But I do strongly believe that I was.
So you say you told your parents about this after this event, and you're a creative person. How did they take you? Did you draw what you saw? Did you try and explain to them through drawings or any creative aspect of how this encounter perceived to you that you could explain to them?
Oh yeah. I drew it out, and years later I drew it again. That's what I enjoy drawing. It's an awesome thing. One of the first forms of communication for humans was, pictures on cave walls. So I always believed that drawing pictures was a great way of communicating, and I thought I could get through to my parents through that. I didn't. They still, my dad, he's still living. I don't even think he remembers me mentioning it because they blew it off when I first mentioned it. But my mom, after years and years of sticking with my story, started to believe me. She said I should probably go on and rewrite the report, even though many people who have come out with information like this, either they meet their demise very soon after, I think, at the hands of the government who doesn't want this information out. So just now that I'm starting a family and everything, she says, you got to consider your options. Maybe you want to, drop the issue and live out a long life, or you could write the report and run the risk of seeing some government lashback. I think right now this is a great point in my life where I should actually come back out with that report.
Well,
now that I'm just Joe Blow and not a government employee.
Yeah, was it the rank of the general? And could you tell us your rank at the time of this command of suppressing your report?
Yes, I was an E4. That was back in 2001. Actually, I was in Hawaii. I was an E4, and I believe the general was a 3-star or a 4-star general, which is extremely high. You don't see those guys around. They don't come out unless something serious happens.
Well, you know what? I got your phone number, and I want to keep in contact with you because we're working on a project in regards to this stuff, what the world wants to know. So if you don't mind, we're going to put you on our contact list, and you might get a call from us here in the next week or so. And we got some things I want to show you in regards to some of the stuff you've just said is quite amazing. Can I get your first name just so we could get that down on our information?
Yeah, it's Perry, like Perry Mason. Yeah.
All right, Perry. Perry, hey, thanks so much for calling in. But any last words?
Blake,
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm a great fan. I'm glad your channel is here and putting this information out, and I hope many more people actually listen and open their minds because the truth is there, and we just have to be smart enough to put it together.
You know what? Yeah, well said. Well said, Perry. We're going to keep in touch, and you stay safe because we are piecing this big mystery together, and it's not without the help from people like you from around the world. That's how we do it, people. That's how we do it is because of you, the information that comes in from the public. That's how we're going to get this information out and blow it wide open. Blake Cousins, stand by. We got more callers. We got 309 and 562 coming up. Get ready. You're going to go live, Third Phase of Moon. We'll be right back.